Hello guys, welcome to this channel. So the main objective of this channel is to teach you cloud. So we're gonna go through very basic concepts to more advanced. But first we need to get started with simple things. So today, since it's the first video that I make for this, we're gonna talk about a web application on AWS public cloud. So for the web application, I chose to run Wordpress because it's famous and also it's very well known, and it uses a database which shows a good example. Okay, so let's jump into a presentation and don't lose any minutes. So here we are in the presentation. I'm running virtual machine on Windows, which have Linux. So for further tutorials, to make sure I can run any command that I desire to run on the cloud. But to get started, this is why maybe you see it a bit blurry, a bit slow, but don't worry, we don't need to operate very fast. So this presentation is about running WordPress on AWS, and we're gonna take the very simple steps to do that. So, first part, what is WordPress? WordPress is a simple web CMS to create blogs, shops, or any kind of web applications. So you can run through a console very easily and create your own website, and which can be a different kind. You have a lot of plugins, etc. So it's quite user-friendly. Even if you don't have extended knowledge in WordPress, you can run it anyway, and it's not very hard, and you find a lot of video tutorials how to do that. WordPress, why I chose WordPress, because it represents 34% of the web traffic, sorry for that. It's written in PHP, so it's not very complicated language, and you can find it on the following address, okay? So what does WordPress requires in order to run in the cloud? So WordPress requires a very simple thing. It's just a web VM, which runs either Apache or Nginx. We're gonna go for Apache, okay? And also it needs a database. So every time you write an article, it stores the data somewhere, and this somewhere is the database, okay? So for that, we're gonna use MySQL version 5.6 at least. So we're gonna take a newer version if there is. So for the first step of this tutorial, we're gonna use managed service by AWS. So the good thing about a managed service is you don't really need to handle everything yourself. So for example, if you need to patch your environment, you don't need to do that because the managed service does it. If you need to auto-scale, then the managed service does that for you. If you need a backup or increase the version, the managed service facilitates you the work here. So you just need to relax. Okay, so we're gonna talk today about Elastic Beanstalk. Elastic Beanstalk is the managed service from AWS, can be used for web applications. In this case, for example, it's fast and simple to get started with Elastic Beanstalk. It handles all the AWS resources for you. Okay, so you can configure a lot of things, but we're not going too much in detail of this because we're gonna do it manually later on different tutorials. But for example, you can have Elastic Beanstalk configuring your load balancers, your replication, your auto scaling, your DNS, etc. But for today, we're gonna keep it simple, just make it run, and after we'll see how to do that manually to learn more AWS resources. So if you need to look on the service, you can just follow the link which is on the presentation. I'm gonna also share the presentation in the comment section of this video. So don't worry, you don't need to write it now, you can just check it later. Okay, so for the database, we were gonna use also RDS, which is a managed service by AWS, which can provide different type of database. Currently there are only relational database such as MySQL, Postgre, Aurora, MariaDB, Microsoft SQL Server, etc. Okay, it's easy to set up and manage. AWS made the things easy for that, so we can just, in few clicks on the console, just set up a database and also enable replication, etc. But for today, we keep things simple. We're just going to start one instance and to be able to use it with WordPress. Okay. There is automatic backups also and restore functionalities on this managed service from AWS. So if you need to do a backup before data migration, you can easily do it. We're going to talk later on more in detail about RDS. It's not the main topic today, but yeah, just to share some stuff. RDS is pretty much a lot of functionalities for that, and is what I recommend most of the time to the customers when they want to go with relational databases. Okay, and if you want, of course, to look for more details about RDS, the link is below. It will be also on the comment section of this video. Okay, so this presentation is over. Now we're gonna go to the to deploy this infrastructure. So first we need to make sure is when you create an AWS account, maybe I will do a different video later on how to create an AWS account, how to secure it, to make sure it's secure. But for now, we just run through it. So first thing that you need to make sure is you go to VPC and you want to have a default VPC enabled for that. Okay. So here I go to VPCs and I have a default VPC. Okay, you don't need to remember everything about the details of this, but just remember there is one default VPCs, and you can check also there is subnets. I will do a video later on VPCs, subnet, networking, every kind of stuff, but for now we keep it simple. Okay. Okay, sorry, my phone is vibrating. It's used as my camera, so don't worry if I'm shaking, but nonetheless, let's jump into the real stuff. So I'm going to start first with RDS because we need the database. It's a bit slow because I'm running this on a VM, but anyway. So here you click Create Database. And we're going to choose MySQL. Okay, and also you can see here you have option if you just created an account for free tier, so that means you don't pay for the first year. Okay, so I want just a dev test MySQL because I don't need the replication or multi-AZ. We're going to talk about these details later on, but for now we don't need that. Click on Next. Okay. So license model, public, it's open source, so there is only one. So we're going to choose MySQL 5.7, okay. The instance type, we're going to change it because we don't need that such a big instance. So we're going to take a T2 small, okay, with 2 gigs of RAM, it will be more than enough to run this. No, sorry, I don't want to click that. 20 gig, we can make it 10. Don't need that much. Okay, so here is the cost per month, but of course it's built by seconds. That means if you use it for less than 1 hour, you will pay the number of seconds that you will run this instance. So don't worry about the cost here. This, unless you keep the instance running for 1 month, you will not pay this. Okay. Settings. So my DB identifier, this is the name of the database that will appear on the console. So I just can say WordPress DB master user. Well, very original. We'll call it master. Master password. Here also very original. Master with big M. Master 123. And let's say a special character like this. Master 123 special character. Okay, next. only allows 20. Okay, let's go with 20 then. I hope you can see it's not too small. I can increase a little bit more. Yeah. So here we choose the default VPC, so the one that you make sure that it was present before. Subnet group, we leave it as default because it's default VPC. Publicly accessible. Let's say yes for now because this is just this tutorial. Don't do that in production, please. I don't want to see that. Your database, sorry. Okay, create new security group. Yeah, we want that database name. Let's call it WordPress. And for the rest, we don't need encryption. For the backup, we don't need that either. And maintenance window, no preference. We can choose here at select maintenance window, but this is just for dev, so we don't need. Generally, you want to choose this parameter if you want to have like the maintenance window during the night, like this, the impact on your website is minimal. Okay. And if I click this enable deletion protection, that means it will require 2 steps to delete the instance. Okay. So create the database. This will take around 10 minutes. So that's why I wanted to do it now. So I'm going to short the video on this to make sure you don't wait. Okay, so now let's go on the video details. Sorry for the noise. Someone is really trying to call me today or to screw my video. Okay, so here we see these are the details of this instance. We can see here is not multi-AZ because we don't need that for this example. It's deployed on these different subnets. Okay, and the current status is creating. Okay, so we have to wait around 10 minutes for that. So for now, we're going to deploy our server. So we deployed the database instance. So now we're going to deploy the server. So the server or VM. So for that, we're going to go to Elastic Beanstalk. Okay, so Elastic Beanstalk, it's the first time that I create the app, so get started. Application name, we can call it WordPress. Sorry, WordPress. Platform, so here we can choose PHP. Like I said, WordPress is a PHP version, but since I'm a little bit lazy and I don't want to do all the configuration stuff, because of course, if you go to WordPress and you download WordPress, it's a zip file. But if you give just the zip file to Elastic Beanstalk, you don't know what to do with it. So you need to create some configuration files saying okay, for this zip file, you need to read this, etc., etc. And I don't want to do that because I'm lazy. So I'm going to choose Docker. So if you don't know what Docker is, no problem. You can imagine Docker as a big box. And inside this big box, there will be WordPress and also everything WordPress needs to run. That means you don't need to install Apache or whatever. It will be already provided by this Docker container, okay? And this Docker container is able to run everywhere where there is a Docker server installed and running, okay? So just keep it simple. We run in Docker, we just put the Docker image source and you will see it will run very easily. So for now, I keep this simple application because we're going to configure it later. So create application. So here also it takes around 5 minutes. So I'm going to shorten the video when this will be complete. Okay, so now we have it. The environment is ready. So that means all the instances, the VMs for the Elastic Beanstalk has been started and they are running, and Elastic Beanstalk also configured a CNAME for our application. A CNAME is kind of URL, okay? So this URL is available here. So it means for now we don't have anything, just the sample app. So if I click here, I will just see the default Elastic Beanstalk page, okay, which is running inside the Docker container. Okay, so now we need the configuration for Docker, okay? So the configuration with Docker, it's this file here, as you can see. It's very simple. Here it tells which Docker image we will use, which port the container uses, and also if I want to have a volume, this is not mandatory, and for the logging information, where is it, okay? So we're gonna configure our application with that, and for that we just need to upload this file into Elastic Beanstalk, okay? This file will be available in a GitHub, so don't worry, you don't need to copy it, just download it later on. So let's do it. Just click here, upload and deploy, browse, and is on home, workspace, my cloud knowledge source, WordPress, Terraform. Don't worry about Terraform, we're gonna talk about it later on. And it's dockerrun.aws.json. Okay, and the version label, let's say WordPress 1. Deploy. At the meantime, it does that. We need to do something else. We need to go on configuration, because we want to set up a connection with the database, right? We don't want every time we deploy a new version, insert the credentials of the database, username, etc., because it's quite boring. Okay, so we're gonna go here in software, modify, and now we're gonna use the environment variables used by WordPress to configure the database. So for that, I have them saved somewhere. In README. Yeah, perfect. So this okay, so we're gonna fill these informations. So the host for now, we don't have it. I'm gonna take it later on. User, so we call it master. So here again, don't do that in production, because here we use the master user of the database, and we don't need to do that. We can create a separate user inside the database which have less rights than the master. Like this, if for some reason WordPress got hacked, the hacker doesn't have the full access of the database, okay? So very important, don't do that in production. But here it's an example. So master password is master123, special character, and database name is WordPress. And now we need to take the host of the database. So for that, we're gonna go to service, RDS, control click, and gonna take the endpoint of the RDS instance. And at the meantime, we're going to change one parameter, which is the security group of the instance. So otherwise, Elastic Beanstalk will not be able to talk to the RDS instance, because by default, everything is denied. You need to allow specifically what you want. So here is the endpoint. Okay. And now we're gonna change the security group of RDS instance. Security group. Where do we change this security group? Click here. And on inbound traffic, I'm gonna add, just to make sure, I'm gonna add the CIDR of the VPC, default VPC, and of course I don't know it by heart, so I need to look for it. So it means that will allow every traffic coming from the VPC to be reachable by the RDS instance, RDS database, okay? So here we have default VPC, here we have a CIDR range. So let's copy that and put on the security group. Inbound traffic, outbound is not restricted, okay? And here on inbound traffic, I'm gonna say add role, allow everything, all traffic, sorry, from this CIDR range. Okay, save. Okay, so now we change the security group. We can save parameters for Elastic Beanstalk. So here, if we click apply, and it doesn't allow me to do that. Why not? Interesting. I think maybe it's because we run an update and we didn't wait for that. So just let's check Elastic Beanstalk. Wordpress. Okay, now it's released. Configuration. Software modify. Okay, let's do that again. What did I do? Okay, sorry for that. So, master user, master. Yeah, probably some little bug, I don't know why, but let's apply these parameters. Okay, so now it's updating the application, so we need to wait for the application to be complete, and all the events are shown here on the recent events tab. So when the application will be ready, we're gonna have a line when it says it's ready, okay? So I'll just close this one because I already have a window. And let's go to the dashboard. So here it's updating the application. And if it works, finger crossed, we will not have to put any database details on WordPress. Okay, so now the container is running. That means the application should be running soon. It's going to check the health of the application. So basically it checks if the port 80 is running, it's responding correctly. So in a few moments we're going to see if it's green. Okay, so now have check passes. That's perfect. Let's go to the link before. And here we have configuration page of WordPress. So let's just select English. Site title, my first cloud WordPress. Very original. Username, master. Password, master again. Master 123, 123 I said. Special character, confirm that I want to use a shitty password. Email, let's say master@gmail.com. And let's click on install WordPress. Don't save that. Okay. So far so good. Master 123 special character. Remember me. Okay. That's nice. Here you have no database information. That means the parameters we put worked. And you see here we run WordPress. So after you can do everything you want. For example, you can go to plugins, start to install a new plugin or theme or whatever. And yeah, so you have a fully functional WordPress. And if I go here on this link with a private navigator, I should be able to see the real web page. I don't know if it's, yeah, it's private. Okay, so here you see you have your WordPress. Okay, so that's nice. We deploy WordPress with Elastic Beanstalk and RDS. You see, it doesn't take too much time, but be careful. This is not a production-ready WordPress. Okay, so if you plan to have like 1,000 users, you should dig a bit more into Elastic Beanstalk to make sure that the replication is enabled. You use EFS for storage, etc., etc., and the database is replicated also. Okay, but this is the first cloud project, so we don't care about these things. Okay, so that's nice. I have a GitHub also where I put some information about these projects. So let's check my cloud knowledge sources. So here you have like the main page where I plan to put my episodes, and the first episode is this WordPress first application. And if you click on the link here, you will have also how to deploy via the console. Is very primary step. So yeah, just check the video what will be here later on. I will update this documentation when I will be uploaded this video. And you can also upload it via the code. And this is something that you should do every time you deploy something on the cloud, because the cloud is repeatable. So that means you need to repeat things and you don't want to click around for 2 hours. So you need to do code. And for the code, you can program just your infrastructure as you program your website or whatever. And for the code that I like to use is Terraform. Terraform, it's very cool stuff. It's very easy to learn and it works on all clouds. Okay, so you can also use CloudFormation to deploy Elastic Beanstalk, but I find it's more hard to work with and it's not user friendly. So yeah, and Terraform is cool, you know. So let's check these guys. Terraform here. So if you need to download Terraform to run the code that I have, just you can choose your version. Never try with Windows, so I don't know what you expect for that. But with Linux or macOS, it works fine. It works well. Okay. So if you want to run the code, once you download, once you clone this repository, you can just open it with Code Studio, but I will also like to use as editor. And here you have the folder -1-WordPress on the cloud. So if you go in this folder, you will be able to see a makefile. And from this makefile, you're just running 2 simple commands for Terraform. So just check we are on the same repository as Terraform and do Terraform init and then Terraform apply. And this will ask you if you want to create the resources that you have seen in this video. Okay. And you can also check the Terraform code. If you don't know Terraform, you can just check what it is. And to run this, it's quite simple. So if you go to 1-AWS, and here you do make deploy of course. Oh, I don't have Makefile on my VM. Anyway, it's how you should run it. I will make sure I install Makefile for next time. And yeah, very simple. So if you go, instead of using the Makefile, you can just do Terraform, and here you can do Terraform init. Sorry for that. Okay, so now it's downloading modules. So I use modules for that. For Terraform, that's something that I recommend. But we're gonna do a complete course on Terraform later on, but not today. Okay, so just show you simple commands how to run it, and I just not going to create the whole infrastructure because it will take too much time, but just to make sure that you understand the steps. So here, Terraform, apply, and you will see Terraform is asking the permission to create the resources. So if I increase the size of the window, no, I cannot do that. Okay. Okay, so here you see it asks for creating 24 resources. Okay, so just going to say no for now. Okay, but make sure you check out this this GitHub repository. You learned Terraform before, and of course you need also like AWS CLI configure in order to run Terraform properly. Okay. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a bit longer than I was expecting, but also I want to make sure that you understand everything. And if you have questions, feel free to post comments below. Also, go to check out my website for like some cool stuff. It's mark-turbo.pro, and of course there is 3W in front. And on this website I put some blogs. I also put some cool articles about cloud, big data, Kubernetes, and all this kind of stuff. So make sure you check it out, and see you next time. Bye. Au revoir.